What's up, everybody? What's up, fuckers? Yeah, another pool school video. This one might be a little longer because we're going to talk about a couple different things. No one thing in particular.
Should you really be making this one a pool school?
Yeah, because I want them to be able to get the information. So yeah. So one of the things I want to talk about is a lot of you know that we used to do liner, above ground liner, and above ground pool installation.
I would probably make this a regular liner rather than
Hun,
pools.
can you just really?
Well,
Anyway, so the reason we stopped doing it is because we don't have time.
there's a pool. We could have tossed it in
And I had a guy call yesterday. Well, I called him back, but he was having trouble installing an above ground pool. Spent the last 4 days messing with it and just can't get it. So I proceeded to tell him that we stopped doing them 3 years ago, which we did. 3 or 4, whatever. So he then proceeds to say, I said, we stopped doing them because they're a pain, and we don't have time to spend on doing them correctly. Otherwise, I would have kept doing them if I had the time. And I also don't have all the tools I need to do those installs anymore. So then he proceeds to say, yeah, okay, he said, yes, so what do I have to do? And I'm like, dude, ain't no way I'm going to be able to walk you through.
Don't forget about your rule.
No way I'm going to be able to walk you through putting up an above ground pool in 5 minutes. There are way too many steps. So,
not only that, if we tell you to do something and you don't do it, you're going to want to come back at us by saying you didn't say.
Or you do it incorrectly.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into that. So,
not be happening.
You will probably not get any pool company that will give you advice on that kind of stuff, because because if you do something wrong or you don't do something that the pool company tells you to do, and it ends up being, that could be very dangerous. If that pool wall doesn't get down to the track correctly, there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
You have to get water in.
You have to get water in very quickly. When you put it, you can't leave it just sit. There's so many different variables to that. I will never give advice on putting a pool up unless I'm directing you and I'm on location and I'm pointing and telling you what to do. I would never tell somebody how to do that over the phone. There's no way in hell. I won't even tell you the steps to do that over the phone. That's just asking for problems for both of us. So, and on that note, aside from the actual pool installs, we do offer a service where we do virtual tech, where it's text, phone call, or video chat. Now, that being said, there's certain things that I can talk you through without worry of you not being able to do it correctly. There's other things that I will not. Putting up a swimming pool is one of them. All right? Working on a motor is another one. I probably will not tell you how to do a seal over the phone, because it's kind of a pain in the ass for me to tell you how to do the seal. I know how to do it, but for me to tell you over the phone, you got to take the back off. Then you got to get a 1/2-inch wrench or 7/16. Well, I forget what size it is. I think it's a 7/16 wrench, and you put it into the thing, and you get it to click in. Are you going to remember that? No. Then you got to unscrew the impeller if it's an impeller, if it's not, whatever. So there's certain things that I can't walk you through over the phone. I could, but unless you're a mechanically inclined individual, you may not get it. And if you don't get it, what we're doing on the phone is a waste of time for both of us. So there's certain things that I won't even try to talk you through over the phone. I will just tell you, no, I will have to come out and do that. Okay? So when you want to book with us for anything, and I know Tammy's going to have stuff she wants to say, one of the things that I do want to say is make sure when you want to book anything with us. Oh, by the way, I just mentioned the other day that openings were almost, well, this isn't an opening either. So I do want to say that we just got some incredibly badass news yesterday. I'll let Tammy tell you that. But when you want to book with us, please make sure it's text or email, and you send us pictures of the pool, at least one picture of the filter system, and what it is you need, your location, what service or services you need, and then that gets the ball rolling. Okay? The phone number for texting is 610-780-3614, and the email address is cvpoolpros@gmail.com. Okay? I'm going to turn you over to Tammy so Tammy can tell you the killer news that we have. You ready? What the hell are you doing? She'll take the phone. She'll take the phone when she's ready.
All right. We can't look a mess while we're talking here. So I just want to go off a little bit of what Gary was saying about there's certain information we can give and certain information we can't give. If you are wanting to get a pool, the first thing, now this is a regular rolled wall or
Metal wall.
Put it together metal wall. The Intex ones, even with the poles, I'm sure those are pretty self-explanatory and are done proof. But we don't do those. But we're talking about the regular above ground pools. Do research before you get the pool, and then you start tearing things apart and opening boxes and then go, shit, how am I going to do this? Because you will probably frustrate yourself really freaking quickly.
You also better make sure it's not a windy day and the ground's not wet.
Right. So, I mean, there's
so many variables to
there's
put
a
above
lot of
ground
things that go into it and thought process. That do your research, watch videos, make sure you are capable.
And have the time.
If you want to get together with a buddy of yours and you're buying him a 6-pack to help you put it up, make sure you are both capable and you have everything that is needed to do it properly. And by properly, I mean, no, not half-assing it. Properly. Pavers and all that. Properly.
Make sure it's level.
You need the leveler, the freaking beamer.
Transit.
Watch this person.
I know. The transit.
The transit to make sure everything's level. There's
to do it right. To do it correctly.
To do it right.
Which is why we don't do them anymore.
Right.
It's way too time consuming.
So please.
We used to be able to get an 18 by 33 pool, which is the biggest oval above ground you can get. We used to do those in 3 days. We did them in stages, but we did them in 3 days. And we needed to take those 3 days because just the setup alone of the box where you're oh my God, you're uprights. No, help me out with this. The buttresses. Thank you. That's what I'm doing. Where your buttresses go, they have to be. That box has to be perfectly lined up. It has to be square. If it's not, your pool is going to be out of oval. It's not going to be a true oval.
There's a lot of them we got done in 2 days.
There's some we got done in 2 days, but our usual on that one was about 3 days, maybe 2.5. But to water, that's to putting water in it.
Yeah, so do your research, and it depends on how in depth you want to go. You can just put sand down. You can put sand and then felt over top. You can do foam around the wall before the liner goes in. You can do a little cove. I mean, you can get in pretty depth
Hell,
detail.
you can even put a deep end in a pool if you want to get a custom liner. It's not cheap.
We had a customer that had a deep end in their pool, and we went to another customer
another pool company.
We needed to look at their system.
And yeah.
They actually their above ground wasn't a flat bottom. It actually coved down.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do things, and just make sure you do the research before you buy the pool.
Or before you go to install it, anyway.
Right.
And guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. Installers, I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't want to do it anymore. That's why we got out of it. We got out of it because we didn't have time. But even if I had time to put together a crew, I wouldn't want to be involved in it anymore. And I'll tell you why. You don't make that great of money installing a pool because people think it's easy and don't want to pay. That's one of the other reasons I got out of it.
And weather.
It started to be a waste of Tammy's and my time, and weather plays a huge role.
You can't have rain one day and think you're going to do the rest of it the following day.
Yeah, no. You really shouldn't do it on a wet ground.
Yeah, no.
Because the sand that you put down underneath is going to absorb that water. That sand can move, and it's going to create a fucked up pool bottom under the liner. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to do that. I'm not going to go into all of it, but just understand what we're saying.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a wham bam thank you man.
Exactly. There's a shitload that goes into installing an above ground pool. So, and the other thing is, this is huge. We actually had this happen to us. Now, we were on the job. We didn't leave the job. You cannot put a pool wall up and leave that pool wall standing and come back to it the next day. That pool wall will not be standing. We actually had wind blow one over when we were putting a pool up. It got windy that day without warning, and it was bad. We actually
Thank God there was a deck.
A deck company.
Guys putting a deck up, and thank God 2 of the guys were there, and they had to help us hold the wall up.
Yep. Otherwise, that wall would have gotten kinked and bent, and once a wall gets kinked and bent, it's very weak in that area, and it'll do it again. So, yeah, we saved that pool by the skin of our friggin' teeth. That sucked. And the wind did not let up. So, it was gusts every now and then. We had that pool wall almost completely up, and another gust came through and started pushing to one side. It was a pain in the ass. That doubled the amount of time it took us to do that pool, just because of the wind and trying to keep the walls up while
Okay, there we go.
Another thing to keep in mind with an above ground pool, the uprights are keeping the pool walls from falling out. The water is what keeps them from falling in. It's not necessarily the uprights. Those uprights are not as sturdy. If you ever put an above ground pool up, those uprights are really not as sturdy as they seem. They're okay for out, but they're not going to keep it up from inside because the plates only hang over about that much. So we've seen we've seen pool walls fall in with buttress they take the thing with them, the upright.
The upright, yeah.
So you got to be careful. You can't really empty a pool and just leave it sit like that. An above ground pool, just leave it sit. And liners hate direct sunlight. Liners don't shrink like this or like this. They shrink like this. They shrink in and up. So you have to keep a minimum of 1 foot of water in the bottom of a liner pool, especially in above ground, to keep the liner from shrinking. So, all right. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got for that. Do you want to do the other thing as on the pool score, or do you want to do that as a regular live?
I would do that as a regular live.
All right. So check out the live coming up for the announcement. That's all we got on this one, unless you got anything else you want to add.
No, what is this? Random stuff?
Yeah.
General thoughts.
General thoughts.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. If I think of anything as we're talking about the other thing, I'll plop it in there because it'll be a general line.
Alrighty, well, we will talk to y'all soon. And if you're watching or whatever, check out the live coming up here in a couple minutes about a really badass announcement that we got. Opportunity that we got. Alright, talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Later.